Have you ever wondered why the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda, two seminal works of Norse literature, bear such similar names, yet have such distinct characteristics? Let's embark on a journey to explore these two iconic pieces of literature. Born from the rich tapestry of Norse mythology, the Eddas are essentially the bedrock of Scandinavian folklore, their relevance echoing throughout history and continuing to influence contemporary art and literature. The Poetic Edda, often referred to as the Elder Edda, is a compilation of anonymous Old Norse poems. This collection is our primary source of information about the gods and heroes of pre-Christian Scandinavians. Its verses are filled with tales of courage, love, betrayal, and of course, the epic battles of the gods. On the other hand, the Prose Edda, also known as the Younger Edda, was written by the Icelandic historian and politician Snorri Sturluson in the early 13th century. Unlike its poetic counterpart, the Prose Edda, as the name suggests, is written in prose. It artfully weaves together the stories of the Poetic Edda, providing context and meaning to the poetic verses. The Prose Edda is not merely a prose translation of the Poetic Edda, it's more of a manual for understanding Norse poetry. Snorri wrote it with a clear purpose in mind, to preserve the ancient skaldic tradition, a complex form of Norse poetry. This is why the Prose Edda is often seen as a guide to interpreting and understanding the Poetic Edda. The Eddas, though different in their form and purpose, share a common thread. They both shed light on the riveting world of Norse mythology. They furnish us with vivid images of a world where gods, giants, and humans coexist in a delicate balance of power, where heroism is celebrated, and the inevitable doom, Ragnarok, looms large. As we delve into the world of the Eddas, bear in mind that despite their differences, these works are two sides of the same coin, each offering a unique perspective on Norse mythology. The Poetic Edda, also known as the Elder Edda, is the oldest known collection of Old Norse poems, but who wrote it and when? This question has intrigued scholars for centuries. The authorship of the Poetic Edda remains shrouded in mystery, a puzzle that time has yet to solve. Some attribute it to Seaman the Wise, an Icelandic historian of the 12th century, but this theory lacks solid evidence. What we do know, however, is that this collection was compiled in the 13th century, a time when the Vikings' influence was waning and Christianity was on the rise in Scandinavia. The Poetic Edda is a compilation of mythological and heroic poems, each one a gem of ancient Norse literature. It contains around 30 different poems, some long and complex, others brief and straightforward. Among these, the most famous are the Völuspá, a prophecy of the world's creation and eventual end, and Havamal, a collection of wise sayings attributed to Odin, the chief of the Norse gods. These poems are a treasure trove of ancient wisdom, conveying messages about courage, honor, and the inevitability of fate. They tell tales of gods and giants, of heroes and monsters, of love and betrayal, of victory and defeat. They speak of Yggdrasil, the world tree, of the cunning Loki and the mighty Thor, of the valiant Sigurd and the tragic Brynhild. They echo with the clash of weapons, the roar of beasts, the laughter and tears of the gods. But the Poetic Edda is more than just a collection of stories. It's a vivid snapshot of the Norse world, full of raw emotion and powerful imagery. It's a window into the minds of our ancestors, their beliefs, their fears, and their hopes. It's a testament to the human spirit, to our capacity for imagination, and our thirst for understanding. The Poetic Edda, with its raw and powerful verses, paints a vivid picture of the Norse gods and heroes, their victories, and their downfalls. So let's journey together through this timeless collection and discover the rich tapestry of Norse mythology. Now let's turn our attention to the Prose Edda, also known as the Younger Edda. But what makes it different from its poetic counterpart? Penned by the Icelandic scholar, historian, and politician Snorri Sturluson in the 13th century, the Prose Edda carries the torch of Norse mythology into the realm of prose. Unlike the Poetic Edda, which is a collection of anonymous poems, the Prose Edda was written by a single author with a clear purpose in mind. And that purpose? To serve as a guide for aspiring poets. You see, Snorri was a poet himself, and he wanted to preserve the complex system of allusions that medieval Scandinavian poets used. This system, known as kenningar, relied heavily on a deep understanding of Norse mythology. So, Snorri set out to document these myths, providing a rich tapestry of tales that would inspire poets for generations to come. The Prose Edda is divided into three main parts: Gylfaginning, Skáldskaparmál, and Hadatal. The Gylfaginning, or the Tricking of Gylfi, is a narrative that introduces us to the Norse pantheon, including the likes of Odin, Thor, and Loki. It's a whirlwind tour of the cosmos from the creation of the world to Ragnarok, the foretold end of days. Next, we have the Skaldska Parmal, or the language of poetry. This section is a dialogue between Aegir, the sea god, and Bragi, the god of poetry, where they discuss the art of skaldic verse. It's here that Snorri presents a treasure trove of mythic references that would have been used in poetry. Finally, the Hadatal, or list of verse forms, is a showcase of Snorri's own poetic prowess. It features over 100 different verse forms, each accompanied by an example poem. It's a masterclass in the art of skaldic verse, demonstrating the intricate rules and structures that govern this form of poetry. The Prose Edda, through its narratives and explanations, provides a framework for understanding the complex world of Norse mythology. Having examined the Poetic and Prose Edda independently, what can we discern about their similarities and differences? Let's begin with their forms. The Poetic Edda, a compilation of anonymous poems, is a beautiful mosaic of lyrical storytelling. Its verses invite us into a mystical world of gods, giants, and heroes, weaving tales that resonate with the rhythm of poetry. On the other hand, the Prose Edda, penned by the historian Snorri Sturluson, opts for a more structured narrative approach. It offers a detailed account of Norse mythology, presented with the clarity and precision of prose. In terms of content, both Eddas present the same characters and mythological events, but from different vantage points. The Poetic Edda, with its rich metaphoric language, paints vivid pictures of these stories, leaving much room for interpretation. The Prose Edda, however, gives us an explicit, almost encyclopedic knowledge of the mythological world, offering explanations for the cryptic allusions found in the Poetic Edda. Now let's consider their purpose. The Poetic Edda serves primarily as a piece of art, a testament to the timeless allure of storytelling. It is a vessel carrying the emotional depth and cultural wisdom of the Norse people. The Prose Edda, however, was written with a different intent. Snorri aimed not only to entertain but also to educate, preserving the old poetic forms and the mythological knowledge they contained for future generations. Finally, we turn to their influence on our modern understanding of Norse mythology. Both Eddas, despite their differences, have shaped our perceptions of this ancient culture. The Poetic Edda's evocative imagery has inspired countless works of art and literature, while the Prose Edda's meticulous detail has provided a solid foundation for academic study. Though they may differ in form and purpose, both Eddas serve as invaluable windows into the rich tapestry of Norse mythology. In conclusion, the Poetic and Prose Edda, while distinct, are intertwined in their exploration of Norse mythology. The Poetic Edda, with its ancient verse, is an authentic relic of the Viking Age. It delivers a raw, untamed narrative, brimming with gods and giants, heroes and villains, all woven into a rich tapestry of myth and legend. On the other hand, the Prose Edda, written centuries later, takes a scholarly approach. It dissects and interprets the Poetic Edda, providing context and clarity, while also adding its own tales to the Norse mythos. Despite their differences, both Eddas share a common purpose: to preserve and share the extraordinary world of Norse mythology. They are like two sides of the same coin, different in form and style, yet bound by a shared subject. Whether through powerful verse or illuminating prose, the Eddas tell a captivating story of gods and heroes that continues to resonate today.